Allow me to introduce you this special session that we have created this year. This is a first attempt that we do a course association type of collaborations. We are excited to involve, this session is to be collaborated with the IPMI. We have a couple of members that are active members in both APPMC and IPMI. And these two associations so happen to organize a conference at the same time in the past few years. And a lot of our active members, such as Metal Focus, Metalor, or a few other US members have cross-active members in both organizations. And we have sit down and talk about how to harmonize it and make sure that both sides can attend the conference. So as a result, you see that our conference has delayed 1 week. Usually we do it in the first week of June, and now we are second week. We have come to a cooperation that they will be the first one and will be the second week. And with this collaboration, we curated a session. This session is called IPMI at APPMC. This small gesture is a meaningful one step forward in the right direction that we continue to connect markets and shape the future together. Let me tell you, a similar session has happened about 1 week ago, and the session is called APPMC at IPMI. And that was conducted last week in Scottsdale, Arizona. I will let Mr. Jonathan Jodry to tell you what has happened last week, and then he will also come forward, and let me introduce him to chair this session, together with Jonathan Butler, who is online. Unfortunately, he cannot come. I'll let him explain to you. Mr. Jonathan Jodry.
Thank you very much, Albert. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I know it's not easy on the Tuesday morning, especially after the very nice evening yesterday. John, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thanks, John. Yep.
Fantastic. So we have my friend Jonathan Butler online. It's 3:30 or something like that in London. So thank you very much for being here with us today. So obviously you have all heard a couple of organizations presenting, and I'm coming with another organization. I hope you will be patient for the next 30 minutes. We would like to talk to you about the IPMI, which is slightly different from all the trade organizations you've heard so far. And IPMI is doing a couple of important things, and I will let the first part of the presentation being done by John from England, and I will take the second part of the foundation. John, if it's okay for you, I'll start with the slides.
Yes, thank you, John. And thank you also for the lovely introduction from Albert. And thank you most of all to the organizers of the APPMC and indeed the whole of the Singapore Bullion Market Association leadership for this great opportunity to show our partnership between our two organizations. I'm deeply sorry I can't be with you in person today. Other commitments, unfortunately, prevent me from being in Singapore. However, I wanted to take the next few minutes to tell you a little bit about the IPMI, the International Precious Metals Institute, which is one of the preeminent trade associations in our industry, and also for John, Dr. John Jodry, to speak to you on the IPMI Foundation, which is our educational and research arm. Now, one of the advantages of speaking this early in UK time, when John says it's about 3:30 a.m., is not only do I get to attend this wonderful conference virtually, but also I do so at a time when most people in the UK may still be leaving the pub, or at least they would be were it not Monday night, Tuesday morning. But I do also get to see the market's reaction to some of the rather interesting things that are happening these days, as we heard about in the previous session, including any late night tweets. And we do know there's been an awful lot of that lately. But I'm not going to talk about the markets. I'm going to talk about the IPMI for the next 10 minutes or so. So next slide, please, John. So first things first, we were founded in 1976 as the IPMI, so we celebrate our Golden Jubilee next year. And we were founded as a forum for the precious metals community, facilitating regional and international chapters, working committees, seminars, and webinars. And we help enable the exchange of vital information on industry topics and allow for unparalleled networking opportunities for our members. For example, as Albert just mentioned, we proudly host an international conference. This event was held just last week in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we were delighted to have for the first time an APPMC session during that event. And we're extremely grateful to the SBMA, to the APPMC, to have us here today as the IPMI. So our membership include corporations, universities, individuals involved in the world of precious metals, for example, from the mining, exploration, banking, trading and financing, refining and manufacturing, biomedical, automotive, electronics and consumer goods, as well as all the service functions that make our whole industry work, including inspection, analysis and consultancy services, as well as insurance and physical transportation. Now, the tagline of IPMI is to connect, grow and build relationships. And those three things really are at the essence of most of the collaboration that goes on in our industry. If you look at the transactions between service providers, whether from miners to collectors to refiners and fabricators, and eventually to end users, every step of the way involves moving metal around and requires trust between one party and the other. And the IPMI provides that landscape to really connect the dots in the supply chain, to grow the network, and to build a relationship that allows our markets to efficiently function. And how we do that is by having face-to-face interaction, whether at our annual conference in June, some familiar faces from the SBMA here on the slide, the regular seminars that we hold, such as our winter meetings held each February, or the work that we do on our committees, helping distribute information on specific topics that are relevant to our industry, and also the work of our wonderful chapters, which give us wide geographical coverage. So a little bit about the committees. They cover all the topics of interest in the markets, and we're adding to these all the time. So currently we have the Sampling and Analytical Committee, the Platinum Group Metals Refining Committee, Security and Anti-Money Laundering, Environmental Health and Safety, Legislative and Regulatory Affairs, and Sustainability. And finally, and most recently, the Women of IPMI, which has been partnering very closely with the Women in PGMs. We also very recently, just last week, added a membership committee and also an awards committee, which assists our IPMI Foundation with their vital work in the research and academic community. And we'll hear more from that from John in just a moment. And in terms of geography, we have a European chapter, a New England chapter, and a New York chapter, amongst others. I guess the one missing piece here is Asia, an extremely important market. But what we're looking to do is to partner with the SBMA, with the APPMC, in order to expand that geographical coverage. Partnerships are of course key in our industry, and we're very grateful to Albert and his team for allowing that to happen for the first time. So I wanted to highlight some of the important work that some of these committees and our wider membership have been doing, and in particular, the Prevention of Autocatalyst Theft, or PACT, working group has continued to do some extremely important work. You may remember last summer, we were once again faced with an existential threat to our refining industry in the form of heavy-handed US legislation that would have made it illegal to trade in detached autocatalyst, which would of course effectively killed the autocatalyst refining industry as we know it and deprive the market of some much needed recycled material. So through the lobbying work the IPMI was able to do together with our friends at the Recycled Metals Association, REMA, and many of our individual member companies, we managed to head off this threat. And through constant vigilance, we are also attempting to keep the rather heavy-handed legislation regarding preventing autocatalyst recycling, keep that off the statute books as it finds its way into unrelated pieces of legislation in the new Congress. Another topic which is very much a hot button issue at the moment is tariffs, and I'm sure we've been hearing more about that over the last couple of days. This also presents a significant challenge to our industry. Now, as far as we know it, according to Annex 2 of the US tariff schedule from April, Bullion, that is sponge and ingot forms of gold, silver and the PGMs, are specifically excluded from US tariffs, but questions about how precious metals, chemicals, intermediates and waste materials are treated still remain. And moreover, how other countries and regions will respond or retaliate to US tariffs remains an open question, and one that we are addressing via specific questions to members of the US Department of Commerce, and also our work together with our partner organizations, including the LBMA and IPA, in clarifying the situation elsewhere. I think one thing we can all agree on regarding tariffs is that we wish our metals and the byproducts to be traded freely across the world. And of course, we'll continue to work in that area together with our partner organizations. Now, the next couple of slides just go into a bit more detail on areas that our members cover and what we might potentially do in terms of collaboration between the SBMA and the IPMI. Now, many of our IPMI members come from the refining side of the precious metals market, whether they are primary producers, secondary collectors and processors, smelters or refiners. And many of them carry various certifications such as LBMA and LPPM Good Delivery and Sponge accreditation, and indeed SBMA accreditation. So much of our activity focuses on refining markets, technologies and developments, on environment, health and safety, ESG, and security and anti-money laundering, as well as technical sampling and analysis. So this could be a potential future area of collaboration for the APAC region as represented by the SBMA, and primarily the Western Hemisphere covered by the IPMI. So watch this space on some potential further activities there. As part of our research, as part of our remit in knowledge sharing and research, as you'll be hearing shortly from John, the IPMI, together with its partner, the LPPM, conducts a regular series of round-robin exercises for high-purity grade platinum and palladium sponge. Now, this involves a large number of participants and makes the results quite relevant. And it helps to validate current methodologies and explore alternative methods in analysing the purity of precious metals. It allows our members to anonymously compare their laboratory's performance to others, and also can be a requirement to fulfil the ISO 17025 accreditation. Environmental, social and governance topics, ESG, are of course key themes in the precious metals industry, and it's one that the IPMI is very much focused on in terms of our global refining members. So whether we're looking at gold, silver or the PGMs, verifying the provenance, purity and even the recyclability of these metals is key. And the IPMI, together with its partners, is at the forefront in connecting members throughout the supply chain, whether it's from the mining and refining to the jewellery or other end user industries, drawing on the expertise of our ESG, CCAM and Environmental Health and Safety Committee. So another potentially fruitful area of collaboration between our two organisations. Seminars and training sessions, such as those run by our committees and chapters. A lot of what we do here focuses on the precious metals markets, the macro, the technical analysis, the supply-demand analysis, as well as detailed subsections of the market, such as we've been hearing about today at the SBMA. One area that we're particularly interested in at the moment is the Sampling and Analytical Committee, which is dedicated on exploring and explaining new developments in the area of sampling and analysis, from instrumentation right through to analytical techniques and methodology. And here we'll be holding our annual Sampling and Analytical Symposium, October 19th to the 22nd at the Colorado School of Mines. And as we go into our 50th, our golden anniversary year, we'll also be doing a great deal more together with our partners on market development aspects, and that includes a golden celebration together with our partners at the World Gold Council in February of next year. And of course, we look forward to celebrating our 50th anniversary year together with the SBMA this time next year. So just to sum up, the SBMA, APPMC, of course, are the preeminent organizations in the precious metals industry in Asia, and the IPMI representing the Western Hemisphere. And members of both SBMA and IPMI would benefit from collaborative events. So we're very grateful for this opportunity today to speak to you. We're also delighted to have several representatives at our annual conference just last week in Scottsdale, and we look forward to both our winter meetings in February of next year and our annual meeting, which will be held in Orlando, Florida in mid-June. So next slide, please. That leads us to the final date for your diary, which is June 6th to 9th, 2026 in Florida. We look forward to welcoming you there, and also hopefully seeing you in person this time in Singapore this time next year. So with that, I'll hand the floor back over to John to talk you through the IPMI Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. The IPMI is organized in two different organizations, but formally it's more or less the same people in charge. It's just a little bit to restructure that. We did that a couple of years ago. The other part is the foundation, and the foundation goal is really to focus on precious metal education and scientific foundation. And this is something I think is very important because there is not a lot of organization taking care of that specific field in the precious metal industry. So our role is really to promote both the science and the technology in the precious metal industry. It goes really from academic world down to the industries, to our members themselves. We are organizing technical sessions, conferences, and seminars. And perhaps the key program that we have is the award programs. In fact, programs with us, because we have a couple of different programs. The first one is the Premier Awards, where we try to honor key people working with precious metals, either from the academic world, from universities, or from our industries. This is a program which was started in 1978. We have a second program, which is the Student Awards, and this is to create a bond between the academic researcher, the students, and our industry. As you know, we are a very small industry. Precious metal industry is quite small, and we feel that it's important to spread the word about our existence to the universities and make researchers aware of what we can propose to those young researchers. And our goal is clearly to have them join our industry after their doctorate, after their PhD. This is a program which started in 1984. And finally, we have also a Jewelry Design Award, which is based in the US to support young creators since 1991. We also have some papers, and I will come back to those later. So the Premier Awards, the idea was really to put up front at our annual conferences people who have changed our industry, either because of their research or because of their impact in our industry. One of the awards is the Junichiro Tanaka Award, which is given to an exceptional contribution in the precious metal industry. And I have put a couple of people on the slides here who have received those awards in the last years. I think many of you remember the late Dr. Stewart Murray from LBMA, who was the recipient in 1918. And we had just this year Ron Davis, who may not be very famous outside US, but he's almost a legend in the precious metal industry in the United States. The second award is the Henry J. Albert Award. This is more aimed at the academic world. And we have a couple of famous researchers. For those who have done chemistry, like John and myself, those names may ring a bell. By the way, out of those four from the last 10 years, the three first received the Nobel Prize. And some of them received it after coming to our conference. I'm sure there is absolutely no relationship, but it was really nice to see people who were or became extremely famous after that coming to the conference, presenting in a couple of minutes what they are doing, and interacting with people from our industry. We also have the Carol Tyler Award, which is given every year to a woman who has made a significant impact in the precious metal world. And we have here Ruth Crowell from LBMA, who got this award a couple of years ago. She was here with us yesterday. And we have some representatives from both the academia and the industry. But perhaps the program which I am the most proud of is the Student Award program. The idea is to get applications from students from all around the world and select the best students who will be invited to come at our conference. So we had 8 of them coming last week in the US. They are coming from all around the world. They present their work in specific sessions, and they are, during the whole conference, interacting with people from the industry. It's, of course, a unique opportunity for those young researchers to enter in an industry which is not really open like the precious metals, but it's also a very interesting opportunity from people from our industry to look where research is being done today in the precious metal field. So what we only ask to them is to be doing a master, a PhD, or a postdoctoral research in an academic institution. They can use any precious metals, and it doesn't need to be chemistry. It can be physics, material, it can be in the financial research. Provided it's in an academic setting, we are looking for applicants. And basically, we would love to have more applications from Asia. Most of the applications we are getting nowadays are coming from US and Europe, and it would be fantastic if you would be able to spread the word about this program, and hopefully next year we'll get more students from perhaps University of Singapore applying and perhaps joining us for the conference. I mentioned also the annual Jodry Award, and here the idea was to also promote young professionals in the jewelry sector. We have awarded more than $300,000 of prize since the program started, and we have a couple of juries who are going to look at the creation of those young artists and select the best pieces which were made, and again award them with prizes at an official ceremony. You have on the screen a couple of the pieces which were created over the last years. Finally, the IPMI has been publishing for almost 50 years now research papers written by our members, and we are assembling them in an IPMI journal, which we started a couple of years ago. But we have literally 50 years of data that we are currently digitalizing for our members. This is an incredible amount of information available. Again, for the moment, it's mostly in papers, and it will take a couple of years to have that in a PDF format, which are readable. But we believe that this is perhaps the most comprehensive source for precious metal research, and we would like to make that available for all our community. So finally, as John mentioned, we would love to see some of you joining our 50th IPMI annual conference next year in June, 1 week before this event. It will be in Orlando in Florida. Just before I give the word back to John, if he wants to add something, I would really like to add that originally IPMI was a US organization. And about 11 years ago, we created a European chapter, which has been extremely successful. It's also organizing a conference every year in Europe. This year will be in November in Budapest. The conference is up to 200 people, and it's a maximum number, so it's sold out for the last 6 years. And we were considering whether we should also have a chapter in Asia. But this conference, the work has been done by SBMA, is so impressive that we believe that the right path is really to have a stronger collaboration between our entities. And between SBMA and IPMI, we would cover the whole world for the precious metals, and we believe that this would be the best way to move forward together. John, would you like to add something?
Thanks, John. I think you summarized it perfectly there. So nothing much to add from me other than to say we look forward to this opportunity for the SBMA and the IPMI to work more closely together in the future, and looking forward to seeing you all in person, both in Orlando and in Singapore next year.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you to everyone. Thanks for your attention, and have an excellent day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jonathan Jodry and Dr. Jonathan Butler.